Hello and welcome to Finance and Technology Insights with Brian and Eric. I'm Brian Williams. We're here at episode 31, believe it or not. So recording a little bit of a day late here because of some holiday stuff, but we're back at it. So how you doing, Eric?
Doing good. Yeah, Eric Buhrendorf here, EVERNET Consulting CEO. 31, episode 31. You sent, did you post that on our Facebook group or did you send that to me directly, that video talking about
Oh
the
yeah, I think
successes?
that was a TikTok. I just shared it through you internally through the TikTok messaging system. But
I would love to share that on here, but that was such an inspiring feel good. It's the TikTok. See if you could fill dead air.
yeah,
I want to
I'll
show
fill
the
it up while you're
viewers.
talking about it. Pull it up.
It was a. I don't usually. If you're logged in, you go ahead and you share because I'm not logged in.
Yeah, I'll find it here and then I'll share it.
So, anyways, as Brian pulls that up, that was it was a real feel good moment for us because I've said this early episodes, but our viewership is so low, almost zero. But we're not you and I aren't trying to make rent with this show. We're just trying to, you and I both realize the value of video content marketing, and this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. Is I wanted to just do an unscripted open forum weekly periodical show like this where I talk about the things I know about or pretend to know about, and just have joined by somebody in the like, and somebody that we enjoy, and I got really lucky that I just barked up your tree one day, and that was after a failed attempt. And I said, Brian, I just want to do the show. Nobody's going to watch it, but we're just going to blather on and talk about whatever. And I think it'll have the side effect of keeping our video chops sharp. And you were interested as well, so I think we got lucky that we found each other. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, we did. Yep, it was just kind of a fun process, and we talk a little bit during the week as well, just kind of checking in. But
Turned into a budding relationship and a
yeah,
business accountability resource, even, right?
definitely. Yeah, you're absolutely 100% lucky in finding me. There's no question
Yes,
about that.
very,
So,
very, very
but
lucky.
no, kidding aside, it's fun to just kind of, especially since we're both working at home, and now that the houses are relatively empty, that's it can be both good and bad. So it's good to kind of have this early week check in. But
Yeah,
I do have that TikTok.
yeah, you
So
got it up. Pull it up. So this TikTok, check this out, everybody.
You can separate yourself from the pack so much more easily by being consistent than by being talented or enthusiastic.
You get that audio?
I love about podcasts. 90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 3. And of the 90% that do, 90% don't make it past episode 20. So by making 21 podcast episodes, you're in the top percent of all podcasters ever in history. Consistency beats talent and enthusiasm. You can separate yourself.
That's so true. That in the podcasting world, that's definitely the situation that you want to be in, that consistency, and keep pumping those episodes out. So it's good that we're at episode 31.
Episode 31, and I don't feel like we show any signs of yielding. So we're gonna. I don't know. It's fun. There have been a lot of days where life is happening, COVID is happening, and you get the case of the Mondays. I think we were recording this at one point on Mondays.
Yep.
But it is every time I leave this recording with you, like I really do kind of go into my day feeling like supercharged. So it's a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Nope, it definitely is good. And so what's going on personal wise? You had a nice long weekend?
Yeah, so we just had Labor Day weekend. We had I think Sunday we had a gathering of some families at our place, which was so fun. I posted some pictures on social. Reached out to you, and I love having friends over, just kind of in a social setting in the backyard, because I get to kind of pull out all the stops. If you see the pictures, it just looks like a fun land in my backyard. We had a blow up bounce house. I hooked up I hooked up my trailer, my yard trailer, to my tractor, and I bought some hay bales and put it in there, and I was giving hay rides to the kids. And a month or two ago, I put up a zip line, like the longest zip line you can imagine in the back. It expands our whole width of our yard, which is really wide. And we have the playhouse, and our yard's big enough for a soccer field and a badminton field. So that was out. Yeah, we cooked out lots of burgers and dogs and sausages and foods, and we had some wine and drinks, and it was just a lot of fun. So that was our Sunday night. What
Yeah,
about
that's
you?
pretty, yeah, and here in the Northeast, we had fairly decent weather. We've had rain now that we're back to work here, but the weekend was pretty good.
It was pretty good. We're in a soggy mess all day yesterday and today, and that started, I think it's about 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock during our gathering. So
Mm.
our I don't call it a party, but our event ended indoors.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. We did a lot of stuff outdoors. We did a lot of stuff around the house. We have this hike that we like to do uh locally. It's kind of right around the corner, and towards the end, I'd say people are 90% through. There's a reservoir there, and you can kind of walk down to it. And the water's pretty low right now, so my son just likes to pick up rocks and just throw them in the water, which is totally awesome. The weather was perfect for it. He's getting pretty good at the hike. I mean, it's probably, I mean, all in, it's probably over 2 miles, and it does go up and down. So for a 4-year-old, that's pretty good. So he did that, and on Saturday, so that was Saturday. Sunday was pretty much the same. I guess I should throw in Friday. So Friday, my wife was off. She's a teacher. They had a 4-day weekend, just because they go back a little bit earlier for whatever the reason they make the schedule out to be. There, in high school, you have to have a certain number of Mondays, certain number of Tuesdays, certain. So anyways, they gave him an extra day on Friday, so we took that day to do some stuff, and we went up to Hartford, and there's a like an indoor market up there where it's a bunch of Eric's going to pull it up here, but there's a indoor market where there's a bunch of, it's almost like indoor food trucky kind of thing. So but there's a little like bunch of pop-up restaurants. I'm probably not describing it well, but you can eat indoors, you can eat outside.
Where is that?
It's in Hartford.
Oh, you went to you went to Parkville Market.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Yep.
love that place. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then so upstairs there's a bunch of like picnic tables and stuff, and
Yep.
so you could eat inside there, kind of as a family, away from everybody else. And they got a bar at one end, and then more kind of sit down bar at one end and open bar at the other. But yeah, that was a pretty good time. So we did that on Friday, and
Awesome.
yeah, we
Awesome.
took advantage of our long weekend. Luke went to the jump park on Monday. So yeah, we were super active, which is
Very cool.
all we wanted.
Very cool. Good. Well, that wraps up our personal section. How about what's going on in... Got it.
Yeah, there's a phrase in our excuse me, in our business. Excuse me again. Geez, have to cut that out. But there's a phrase in our business they call it selling season, which I can't stand, but it's basically that sort of Labor Day to Thanksgiving ish, or towards the end of the year, depending on the business. But you do have these like 80 or 90 days, more so in the retirement plan world, where it's a lot of people are reviewing their plans at the end of the year or looking to start new ones. And then you have the stuff with the mandate going on. So I've been kind of looking forward to this phase all summer, with people getting back to work in a regular schedule. So we've got a lot planned around that. Next Tuesday night, we're doing an event at the Newington Library. We're going to do an event there that's centered around the mandate and some opportunities for business owners there. So I was on another networking call this morning, and when people hear the phrase mandate or the word mandate, it's like, oh geez, kind of roll your eyes, another regulation that somebody is making us do. But then the other thing you hear is that people are having such a hard time finding employees and retaining their good employees. So, you take that mandate as an opportunity. There are some businesses who will do the bare minimum, and then there will be others who kind of look into it and do what's best for their employees. And those that do what's best for their employees, that's going to be a competitive advantage for them as they look to add staff and retain staff. So
For sure.
so getting that message out there and helping these businesses who can now compete. You know, if you've got 3 employees, you can compete at least from this particular benefit, as well as somebody who's got 3,000 or 30,000 employees. So, so I imagine there'll be some more efforts like that as we get that message out there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one next Tuesday night. The email campaigns and stuff will be up and running. I got some stuff going out to clients this week, the regular newsletter, and then more marketing stuff set up to go Thursday, which is tomorrow, I guess, in a short week. So lots of good stuff going on. How about you? We got to play a clip.
Oh, my. Never gets old. Never gets old. Let's see. Yeah, so I don't want to pull back the curtain too much, but we're doing a lot of fascinating stuff on our marketing team, our digital marketing team. We have a new web resource who's just fantastic. He's all in on the strategy that we have, and he easily the fastest employee I've ever trained ever.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. We have this business management tool that we use, and it can be a pretty steep learning curve on how to use it. And this gentleman, I tell him something once and he just gets it, maybe twice, where I've had really talented people take weeks and weeks and weeks to kind of learn the tools and the processes. So yeah, he takes the gold for being the fastest onboarding employee ever.
So was that a question of him being able to learn quickly, or did he have experience in similar systems that carried over?
No, he didn't have any. He didn't have any experience. That's what's so fascinating. He just, some people kind of see the matrix and some people don't. And I'd like to think that I'm one of those people that, software, I don't ever read the manual of software. I can pick up a piece of software and usually learn it pretty quickly. And not everybody can kind of do that. And he's one of those people that just, he kind of can see it, and he sees the imperative and the reason for the software and the function of it. So it's been a joy to just really integrate him into our systems and processes. He's already consulting our clients like within the first week, which is like fascinating.
Wow.
And his customer service skills are really, really top notch. So that's been a real joy, and I've been collaborating with him and integrating him into our marketing team. The cool thing is our marketing team works our marketing, but it also works our clients' market. Our clients are now buying digital marketing services, web services from us. So the same team we use internally is the same team that's delivering for our clients, which is fun. Yeah, we're just ramping up. We're building out this whole new digital campaign process, and we're codifying what a digital campaign looks like, what are the assets and the elements that go into it. And we built a kind of a internal form for us to use. So when we're going to do a campaign, we pull out this form template, and it just takes us through, who the audience is, what's the goal, what's the value add, what's the lead magnet, if you know what a lead magnet is. And then it goes down to, what are the emails, what are the email workflows, what are the copy, the email copy, the landing page copy, all of the assets that are involved in the campaign, we have placeholders for. So before we even go to software and start coding and implementing these things, we're in a Word document hosted in our SharePoint, shared, so all of the team is in it. You can see little bubbles and heads floating around the Word document. It's pretty funny. And somebody's down at the bottom drafting an email. Somebody's up at the top. 2 people are at the top drafting, and we're all in a jam session.
Nice.
And once we get this document, so we've been building that out over the past couple of weeks, and we've got kind of we've got a pretty solid 1.0, 1.2 version of this process codified, and we're about to execute on that for our first campaign internally. And the idea is when we have campaigns to do, it's going to be fast, and it's going to be a codified process, so you can start bringing in kind of lower tier resources that can kind of still deliver and execute and be integral into the process. So that's kind of our development on the marketing side.
Okay. Oh, that's really good. And you think staff wise, you've got all the resources you need to handle everything, or are you still looking to add?
We're going to need more pretty quickly, I think. Right now we have a bunch of high level folks that we're building these processes, and so it's like consulting and service is like running a race team, that doesn't want to pull over to change the tires or get gas. You know what I mean? So we're like building these systems and providing services concurrently with, you know what I mean, with the things. So we're really close to the point where I think we've kind of got our model, and we'll start being able to, like I said, bring in like lower level entry. I don't want to say entry level, maybe entry level, but like, early career, mid-career folks that can still contribute to the spokes of the wheel where we are. The other thing, we're in the midst of redoing our website. So our website is like, if I share that today, you'll see it's completely different and it's lean. So it's what I call functional lean.
Okay.
Sometimes like I love clean sheeting our website. So like, if your website doesn't change very much from year to year or quarter to quarter, well, I don't want to say quarter to quarter, but like, our last version of our website was the same for about a year and a half, maybe 2.
Okay.
And it just, it's if you don't change it enough, your people will get used to it, and then they won't see anything on it anymore.
Right.
So I like to go clean sheet, and in the process, I live iterate and live build the website. So it's important. So what I mean by that is like, you have to have the core functionality of the site there. If all your nav, your socials, your contact, all the links and the resources that people who are going to the site need. But we're gonna, like, you see, we don't even have a products and services page yet on the nav. So like, when you land there, you're at an IT services company.
Yep.
You know that you can, if you scroll down, you can schedule a discovery call if you're a prospective client, or if you're ready to set up your account, you can set up your account. But we're not even leaning into like we're not leaning into the marketing, so to speak, of like our products and services yet. So we're building that out a lot. Okay. That what you're looking at is an account setup wizard that I think is one of our unique selling positions. When you become an EVERNET client, you onboard yourself, right? Right. With any modern kind of account that you would set up online, you can actually set up your IT services yourself, right, through a web wizard driven process. I mean, we like to do it with the new client to make sure that they get it right on the first time. But yeah, so that's kind of exciting stuff for us. And that's another USP right there. Like, I believe in putting our pricing right on our website. Almost no IT companies. Some do, but most IT services companies do not put any pricing on their website. They try to get you into this long, drawn out sales cycle and sales process. And I think that's a bunch of malarkey. Just, when you're shopping for something, you want to, 2 questions: is this what I need, and how much does it cost? Right.
Right. Yeah. And I can't stand when there are prices on stuff, and in retail stores. That really bugs me. That would make me a lot less likely to buy it, for sure.
Yeah. Could you imagine going to a retail store and there's no price tags on anything?
Yeah.
You have to bring it up to the counter and be like, hey, how much is this? And then they go, they size you up and say, how much grit does this person have to resist my sales process?
Yeah.
So I sent out an email. So one thing, I don't want to co-opt the whole show, but I sent out an email campaign to our current clients and our leads and prospects yesterday, 3,500 people. And what we do mid to late summer, me and the accounts team, we look at the company. I mean, I look every month. I look at the company health and financial performance, but we look at kind of the account health and our service model and our engage. I hate using the word contracts, but our contract model, that sort of thing. We always kind of. It's the point in time where we say, like, are we still relevant in what we're providing, and is the price model still relevant and competitive, right? So fortunately, we went to the drawing board. We started doing this about 4 or 5 years ago, and we used to be that old sales model where like every client had a necessarily different fee
Right.
structure. There was no uniformity to it at all, and it was it didn't make me feel good. It felt like I was doing that, like that's the dealership model, where it's like the whole sales process, and that's what the industry's still doing, but I just didn't feel good about that. So I worked really hard about 4 or 5 years ago building a standard engagement model, and with standard pricing. And so once I succeeded in doing that, then I built this process where, okay, every summer we calendar our contracts. So January 1st to December 31st is the billing period for the billing cycle. Of course, I reserve the right to change that midstream, but I really try not to. What I try to do is review it in the summer and then send a notice out in September and say, January 1, here's what the next year is going to look like. And the clients really have come to appreciate that. So that's what I've been going. That's administratively, that's what I've been doing in my company. And fortunately, we don't have to make drastic changes anymore to our engagement model. Just a little pricing tweak and stuff. And the email subject line was good news, where our prices aren't going up, but ... So that was some admin that I did.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So what was your, so do you, obviously this is all, you said existing clients and prospects, but do you track your open rate and read rate?
I did. You want some stats?
Yeah, sure.
So we use our marketing software to send the same communications out to our current customers that we do to our leads and prospects. And the email campaign, I'll share it if it's not going to reveal anything proprietary. I don't know. You want me to share? I'll share.
Yeah.
So this shouldn't compromise me in any way, but here's my campaign data. It's notice of pricing changes for 2023 is the campaign title. 3,577 messages were sent. This is what's interesting. 98% of them, 98.5 were delivered.
That's good.
And so far we're tracking 34 unsubs. So knowing that this really was relevant mostly to our current customers, which is not 3,500 customers. We have, a small, just a fraction of that. We sent it out to leads and prospects also, because why not? It's if you're not doing business with EVERNET and you see this communication go out and you go, oh, wow, these guys, this is how they work. This is how they, communicate, just another opportunity. As a result, a lead reached out and now we have a meeting for a potential client. So that was the intended intention for that. But you can see that the open rate is about 25%. So, yeah, I mean, I think.
So when you say reached out, they went to your website and booked an appointment, or they just called you or replied to the email?
So the email is structured that they can click links to schedule. And but the email is also structured in a way that it comes out of our business management tool, so that it sends from my email address, but the reply to address is our help desk email. Okay. So any replies to it will create a ticket, and the tickets are we don't change a light bulb around here without having a ticket open for that. So everything we do administratively and business functions, sales and service and accounts and billing, every function of the company operates. Everybody is operating in a ticket right now. Even I'm operating in a ticket. In fact, I don't know if I've showed you this before, but this is what that looks like.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is a ticket for the EVERNET account, which is us. And this is a recurring ticket that gets created for me, and it tracks my time, and what it's supposed to have a ticket checklist in here that tells us what to do, which I'll have to apply later. But anyways, the replies to these emails will create a ticket. And if they're a current account, which they all are at some capacity, it'll get ticketed to that account, and then we can take action on it.
Okay. And you're okay with your unsubscribed list? That was just kind of fringe people anyway?
Yeah, I mean, 34 contacts out of 3,500 said, like, this isn't, I don't want to see this anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, that's good. It makes the quality of the next email that much better, right?
Yeah. Exactly. That's the concentration of people who do care. It gets better, and I think that's it. Unsubs are good. It's better than that. I don't know. I think it's a healthy function of the process, and I've come to understand that, because it's just like you said, the concentration of the contact database gets the better. The people who remain are the people who are interested in your messaging. 53. I'm surprised that 53 bounced, because it's the same list that we've sent campaigns last month, and you would think that would have called out all the bouncers, but I guess something happened to 53 more contacts. Whether I mean, I guess out of 3,500 people, there could be a lot of employment changes, and
I mean, 3,500. If people are changing jobs every 3 years, right? I mean, you're going to have pretty much 100 a month that are going to leave, right?
Yeah,
math right. But
there was one more thing I wanted to mention. It just flew right out of my head.
So do you have any big I'm just going to circle back. I do have someone scheduled. This is kind of we've got a few good things scheduled, but one of them coming up is we're going to talk to a guy, the portfolio manager from Advisor Shares. He runs a few different portfolios, and one of the ones he runs is on travel and hotels, ticker BEDZ, beds, which is kind of funny, these
beds
symbols. Yeah, but so he's coming up today. We have it scheduled for 1:00. It's not confirmed. We scheduled it a couple months back, but I think it's still going to be on, because I got an email from his assistant this morning. So looking forward to that. But do you have any good interviews coming up, or any good content you're pumping out?
So one thing that I've been doing is you've been really killing it with reaching out to authors who have been putting out books, and I find that so fascinating. And
especially during the summer, it's a lot of because people are putting together summer reading lists and whatever. So that was kind of the theme. I think that, and then like that after Thanksgiving, and the Christmas book list and whatever. Those are my big author.
I think you're killing it with that. What I did, so I didn't have any success, and I don't think there's a lot of people writing books in maybe the space that I want to kind of contribute to. But what I did do at the beginning, or maybe in Q2, I started. One thing that I always failed at is we have dozens and I don't want to say hundreds, technically probably hundreds, but we have dozens and dozens and dozens of vendors that we interface with all the time for our clients. And they're always reaching out to us, trying to co-market and get some co-messaging out. And I have always been too busy running my business to foster those relationships. So in Q2, somewhere around March, I started building and curating my contact database for our vendor partners, is what I'm calling them. And really making contact with them on LinkedIn and email contact. And they're in, this contact database is in our CRM email marketing software. And as you know, I launched an EVERNET YouTube channel, and what the YouTube channel content that we're producing is we're finally tapping that database of vendors and saying, like, hey, now we're ready to co-market with you. And we've been doing some reviews of their products and things like that, and that's been working really well. But I don't throw my hat in the ring unless I'm ready for the game. You know what I mean? So I'm in this situation where, like, I had some administrative HR team building that I had to go through over the summer. So we had some turnover and switch, things had to move around a little bit. So we kind of have like the tools together. We've got the team together, and then being in the summer and stuff, things are kind of low and slow. So we're like, today marks 1 week of the kids back to school, and like we're back to, but it's been a short week, you know what I mean? So I hate to use that as an excuse, but my family does come first, and everything comes second after that. And so it's been a little quiet. I haven't solicited any vendors yet, but there are a couple interesting vendor partners that I have made contact with that I'm really excited to have on the show. And I think they're in the wings. They're just waiting for me to initiate the meeting.
I have a funny story to kind of share along those lines. So I have a partner who's we've referred some business back and forth, but he's an accountant, does some payroll stuff, has a really good, a decent sized social media presence, and his staff is really good with that. And one of the things they do for their clients is they do like a business spotlight. So they're taking their audience and saying, ABC retail shop is our client. Come check them out. Here's some pictures of their store. Here's a little blurb on the business that they're doing. Nothing with video or anything crazy like that, but just so they're putting that out there, and they do a good job with that. I like that concept. So a woman on his team reached out to, it must have been 8 or 10 people yesterday who were clients or partners of theirs, and said, here's what I want to do. It was a very clear, well-written email. Here's what I want to do. Here are the next steps. Email me a little bit about your business, step 1. Email me something additional, maybe a story you want to tell or what sets you apart is number 2. And number 3 is your contact information. So she sent this out with people either on CC or BCC. Must have been CCs. Almost everybody hit reply to all. Said something like, great, let me know what you need. Great, this sounds cool. Reach out to me and let me know how I can help. And it was like, it was very clear what she wanted, but it makes you think, trying to turn that into a positive. This is how people read emails. They see the first thing, they get excited about it, and then it tails off. And but it was an interesting study for me just to see how people, and I understand some people probably were replying saying, great, thanks, I'll sort of get to this later, even though that's not what they said. But it's one of those things that when I replied, it didn't take more than 5 minutes. It's a couple sentences about your business, which you should have at your fingertips anyway. And then your contact information, which was all in my signature anyway. And then, some highlight some specific points. But it was funny. So I emailed her back. And I said, nobody answered your question. You sent this out and no one answered it. Everybody was interested, but nobody answered it. And then I just wrote, I understood the assignment, because that's like a social media thing.
Did you get the gold star?
Well, so she emailed me back. She's like, oh my God, I literally laughed out loud. Yeah, no, you were the only one that answered it, because I took her email and then I broke it up into the 3 parts, put it in bold, and then I put my answer underneath. And again, it didn't take more than 5 minutes, but it was like, you have somebody who's trying to help you out and promote your business, ask for really simple stuff in return, and everybody just blew right through it. Great, let me know what you need. It's like, she already did that. But anyway, I just thought that was hilarious, because I got another buddy that we're always talking about, like, you send an email. Do people even like read the email?
Right.
Or like,
yeah.
Forget asking people to do like 2 or 3 things. Like, it's almost to the point, like the whole, business mantra of talk to people like they're 5 years old or 5th grade or whatever, not to be condescending, but to be very clear in what you want.
So I could speak
short, ask for 1 or 2 things and leave it at that. But
I could speak to that. When a client has a material need, like they need a new server or a new workstation, or their router just, died and they need a replacement, we send them an electronic quote. And, getting the client to respond to that quote, in often cases, they're the ones being like, hey, I need a quote for something, it's like, here's the quote. And then it just kind of dies on the vine. The other thing is the notice of pricing changes email that went out in 2023. We will have clients in January when they see if their billing was impacted, go like, what was where'd this come from, and it's like, I get it. We sent a notice out in September to prepare you. I guess I could send the email. I could send the same notice once a month, maybe for every month leading up to it. But it's really, you and I think spoke about this before. Like, you can't make everybody happy, and you can't make anybody happy.
Right.
And that was a big driver of how I ran my business for the first probably 8 years. Of how I tried to do so many things to satisfy. You have to satisfy your customer,
Mhm.
but at the same time, like, there's business owners, business leaders have this really tough challenge of telling the client what they need and what they want, and satisfying the feedback loop. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's
And especially when you're in a business where you're in a service business, but they also need to put some work in too, right? It's
totally.
not always a one-way
Oh, you
relationship.
can't. Yeah, you cannot have. Your business is probably the same thing. You cannot have an effective relationship with your clients unless they are at some level engaged, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, it's just interesting how you learn how people read emails and how they don't
Hmm.
don't reply to things. But that it happens all the time. But I've really sort of scaled back. Like, I'll usually, greet somebody in email, have one little quick, something that I don't sound like a robot. But then after that, it goes right to being a robot. Here are the next 3 steps. Boom, here's the due date. Boom, here's the due date. Can't
The
be.
only thing I would say is what's total cringe for me is when somebody wants information in a Word document or in an email,
Uh-huh.
and your friend there or your colleague, my response to them is like, man, why don't you just boot up a quick Google form?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Send your message, click here to submit the information we need, because it's like, it's mobile friendly for one. So, like, if I'm on the go and you need some information from me, and I could click a link and have a mobile friendly form and just boom, 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 click submit, like
Right.
that, it really greases the wheels. When oh my God, I post about this on LinkedIn, and I try to shame as many people as I can. But, like, when somebody sends me a form in a Word document and they want me to populate a response into a Word document, it's
Yeah,
it's
that's
cringe.
a pain.
It's cringeworthy and I've had, like, big organizations. I've had I was thinking about hiring a trademark attorney. Did I tell you this on one of our earlier
Yeah.
episodes?
Yeah.
Trademark attorney, big firm in Hartford, sends me an engagement letter in a Word document and a retainer agreement in a Word document that she wanted me to populate my name and signature, I think, to. And I was like, no, I'm just not going to do it. All you had to do was print to PDF, save as
Right.
PDF, and send me the PDF version. And then at minimum, I can on my mobile do an electron. I don't know. You're on Android, right?
Yep.
Does your Android email client have a quick, like, an easy, like, if you have an email with a PDF and you open that PDF, does Android have a quick signature and resend back
Yep.
feature?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Okay, 'cause
my phone has the stylus anyway, so a lot of times I can do the sign on screen and
yeah, that's
send back or yeah.
But, like, the software itself had, like, it detects
Yeah.
the attachment, it lets you open it, and because on the iPhone it's beautiful. Like, there's a little pen signature, like, it detects the PDF. You can open the PDF, sign it, and then when you click, like, save or something, it says, "Do you want to attach and reply?" You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's
Yeah.
it's so much faster.
Yeah. And we use DocuSign here for all
Yeah,
our stuff anyway, so that works pretty well. But the idea of sending something in a Word doc, it can come from two different places. One of them is we don't know the technology or we're lazy, or the other end of it is this is the way we do business. We're at the top of the food chain. We don't care if you don't like our process. It's a privilege for you to do business with us, and we're doing you a favor by taking you on as a client. So
yep,
so these are our procedures, and
yep,
we're
yep,
making enough money. We're efficient enough. We don't care.
yep.
Um,
I made a conscious business decision about 4 or 5 years ago, also, when I was kind of revamping our contracts,
yep.
to build have a standard engagement model and a standard
Mhm.
sales process that all of my clients had to, like, they were guide rails, you know what I mean, that all of the clients had to be within. And a
Mhm.
lot of my clients, I had I had well over 100 clients that were like way outside of these guide rails. And it's only when you have a productive sales and marketing function in your business, bringing in new leads, that you can tell, you could tell new leads and prospects and clients that like, no, this is how you do. Because all new clients not all new clients.
Mhm.
There's a high percentage of new clients that like, if you teach them, this is how we engage our clients early, it's so much easier to get them in that stream than like having an existing client be like and trying to bring them down into this track. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
And once, I mean, that's how you learn things about growing your business is somebody else sends you something or you're like, oh, I like that, their calendar interface or whatever. And then you want to implement those for yourself, because if you really like somebody's onboard process, you're like, oh, that's better than what we've got.
I mean, I remember I've had client like in 2012, 2013, I was changing my quote layout and my invoice layout to satisfy one client's response. Some of the responses were good. Some of the feedback was good, but then other times, like I had one client who wanted me to, they would receive service. They wanted an invoice at the end of the service,
Oh,
like
yeah.
same day. And then like I thought about it. I spent some time thinking about like how I can change my business to accommodate this one client. And he was small. It was a small client, and not that we treat all of our clients as the same, so small or large the same. But
Yep.
And he was a real strong-willed individual. It was funny. In the end, I just, I said, no, we do aggregate billing for our hourly work, and you'll get an invoice at the first of the month for the prior month's aggregate, time. And well, he's no longer a client, but that's okay
Right.
too,
Yep. That's okay. And I think the good clients really understand is the reason for business efficiencies it's not a one-way street. It's like, we're trying to do this so we can be more efficient for you and keep the costs down. I mean, that's why we do it, not
That
for
is
our own.
1,000% true.
It's not to give our clients a hard time or put them all in a box, although some companies will do that. But it's like, no,
Yeah.
we're streamlined and efficient to help you out,
Yep. I remember when we implemented electronic payment only a few years ago. I don't know if I talked about that, but we don't take checks in the mail anymore.
Mhm.
We don't, that the checks in the mail routine doesn't work. So we send electronic invoices, and we expect electronic payment. And the result of that is, oh my God, the amount of times we would call somebody who was past due on an invoice, and the check's in the mail. So then you have to wait a week to see if it is in the mail. Then,
Right.
we thought it was in the mail and it was not in the mail. and
Yeah.
and then so now you're like, 60 days out, and then you're like, okay, well, we're gonna assess you a late fee. Oh, it wasn't my fault. Well, all this stuff. And so we moved, when we changed that was interesting. And we actually I was on the podcast of the vendor who does our billing portal.
Yeah.
He called me, the CEO of the company. Is a big, like multi-billion-dollar company. He called me and he's like, hey, this is, I won't name drop, but he's like, hey, your company for some reason is utilizing, there's a metric that they track, is the amount of electronic payments that versus the accounts payable that were being made. He's like, you're at like a 99%. How? He's like, no other customer that's using our billing portal is getting 99% of their payments electronically. And so I was on his podcast and I spoke about it, and I said, yeah, I made a conscious decision to risk alienating myself from my clients to get them to conform within this framework. And yes, we did lose some clients, but we are doing such a more efficient and productive business now. And that's been years ago now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, anyways.
And your managed support, that's all subscription based anyway. So the fees are pretty standard. Do you have the ability? Do you pull those? I mean, is it like a Netflix or Hulu subscription based, or do you actually have to bill them and they pay for it?
Yeah, and it's a limit. There's some limitations of the software too. Like there are some softwares that we can do like that will allow for like a static recurring invoice, and then it's kind of like on auto. I'm in some peer groups and stuff where people kind of tease me because the software I use, I still have to manually kind of do an approve and posting and invoicing process, and it has to generate the invoice and go to the client, and then the billing portal, they create at their choosing, they can upload their payment method and then build what's called an auto pay rule in our billing portal. If they don't choose to do that, they can have the same invoice every month effectively, and then go and manually pay it. We don't dictate that to them. Some of our competitors do. They require some of our competitors go above and beyond what I do and use this type of software that just like keeps statically creating this invoice, and the client at the onboarding process has to put a valid payment method on account so that machine just runs. I mean, and I give them credit where that services them, but we still have a lot of business that we do. We have a lot of hourly and project work that we do with our clients that is variable. So we have the account management team and business function internally that still interfaces personally with the clients for their billing and their services and their quoting and stuff like that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that does. Yeah, I was curious about that because we do a little bit of a mix here. Some is subscription-based stuff, actually pretty similar to yours. We do some one-time project work that it's kind of a recent thing that we added, but where we do a portfolio review where, a lot of people, they like their, the whole, if you like your advisor, keep your advisor kind of thing, but maybe once every 3 to 5 years, they just want to email somebody their statements and say, does my advisor know what the heck they're doing? Or let's take a second look at it. So not a lot of advisors provide that service because they want the ongoing relationship. But to me, there's, I always look at it. If I was a client, would I like that? It's like, yeah, that would be a service I'd be comfortable with if I was not, if I didn't really know what was going on. So I'm going to start promoting that a little bit more. But we do have subscription-based clients who don't have the assets to bill from. Normally, we, since we have access to the client accounts, we'll bill the client accounts. But some of the younger folks where maybe they only have where it's just more of an education or planning kind of thing, they don't have the assets yet. So bit of mix of all of those kind of things, which over time could be streamlined, or maybe one part picks up over another. But I'm a little bit like you in that I don't 100% automated billing would scare me a little bit, because I don't want to process refunds or have somebody be billed that isn't supposed to be, or get the wrong bill. That would just, I want to see it first and then say, yep, that's okay. Yep, that's okay.
Yeah, it's almost like spend the admin time on the front side or spend it potentially on the back side. We understand that. We try to balance that. Our invoicing is largely automated in that I used to, during the invoicing process, do billing review during the approve and post and invoicing process, but I've changed our service model workflows internally, so all the billing items get reviewed during the time of service.
Yeah, no, that's good. That makes sense. So you're targeting October, the end of October for your website?
Yeah. So I always, you ever go to a website and it's like, website under construction, and then it's been like that for 10 years.
Yeah, I remember like the early days that always have like the little construction shovel.
Yeah, website under construction. Yeah. So no, we are in the midst of a rebuild of our website. So I did. Yeah, you're referring to the banner on our website. I don't know if I could show it or not, but let me just put it up on screen here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so this banner here. So this website just came up Monday. This weekend we just put this up. So we are. I didn't want to put a under construction, so I wanted to give it a timeline. Say no, we're actually in the middle of revamping our website. So that's why I put that timestamp there. I guess we're not going to get into the news today, but if anybody's still paying attention, go to our YouTube channel, which we don't have a vanity. I always say this. We don't have a vanity link yet. We need like 1,000 watch hours or something, but the URL is in the video. Give us a subscribe. If you like what we're talking about, give us a like. If you want to contribute to a conversation, or maybe even join us as a guest someday. I know that we mentioned maybe having a guest one of these days. Leave us a comment. Brian and I do have a Facebook page that we use to drop news articles that we at the tail end of the show like to talk about, which I don't think we're going to get to some news today because we leave ourselves a 60-minute hard stop on the show. Yeah, so that's a little bit about us.
Yep. Yeah, you want to wrap it up, or is there a hot news story you want to get to?
I don't know. Nothing screams at me. I talk EVs all the time. I don't think that anything's going on in the EV world. Anything going on in the finance or technology world? I'm going to a conference next week to DC. So I'm going. We're going to be recording again on Wednesday next week.
Mm-hmm.
And the conference I'm going to, I don't want to mention it right now while I'm gone. I'll talk about it when I get back. I don't know. Maybe you remember you didn't want to talk about your vacation until after you were back.
Yes. Yeah. Right. I mean, that was more of a personal family trip, but yeah, I mean, with privacy and everything that's
a
out
little
there,
privacy. So I'm going to a conference next week, but we'll talk about it next week. It is a technology conference. One of my vendors hosts a major conference every year, and I've been watching the conferences. I kind of poo-pooed it 10 years ago because I was so busy running my company and growing the company or whatever. But now that I have more time doing more kind of outreach and business development stuff, I finally said, okay, let me check out some of these vendor conferences.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course, COVID, they were done. They were derailed for 3 years. So this is the first one since 3 years ago. So I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah. When was the last time you actually went yourself to a conference?
4 years ago, 5 years ago, I think.
Okay.
It's been a while. It's been a while. So that's I'm kind of excited about, like, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, on the one hand, I'm like, I don't want to be moved out of my comfort zone, but on the other hand, it's intriguing to meet new people and maybe learn something and kind of get out there again.
Is there people you're looking to connect with at this thing? That I know for me, so there's some conferences coming up next year, and it's like, man, I just want to go because there's so many people through LinkedIn or just recording content. It's like, man, I want to see what this person looks like in real life, or shake somebody's hand. Or
I would be lying if I said no. So yeah, there are. So one thing is, like, this conference is being held by one of my big vendors, and something that I've done over the last couple of years is I've been participating in the peer groups surrounding this vendor and actually surrounding my industry too. Like, I kind of was like, I always stayed on the periphery, but I really kind of leaned into my peer groups, the peer industry. And not just to try to learn and take, but to also contribute. And part of that has led me to be, I think, to some degree, I don't want to say an influencer, but like whatever is like 3 steps before an influencer is called, I'm just a heavy contributor to the space. And as a result of that contribution, I can see other people who are also contributors to the space. And those contributors are actually, I think, making a livelihood being influencers and contributors and consultants. I'm not. So, and they've been really receptive of me joining that space as a collaborator and stuff. So I'm interested to meet some of those people, interested to meet some of the executives and leaders at the actual company of the software product that I use to run my business. So yeah.
Yeah. I know you don't want to get into too many details about this. So there's a couple of ends of the spectrum for me. Like, sometimes there's these industry conferences, as I make the kind of air quotes, but they're really specific to one company that's putting those on. And it turns out to be kind of a rah-rah session for that company. Those things 100% freak me out when I see
a little kumbaya, right?
Oh my God. Those, when they like post pictures and everybody's like, and they're doing trust falls in the conference room.
Oh, trust fall.
Oh my God.
Trust fall. No, I felt the same way. And yeah, no, I don't need to spend my money to go and drink the Kool-Aid at a vendors conference. And I don't think that that's what this is. There's an exhibitor hall, so there's going to be a bunch of other vendors exhibiting their wares. And while I was surprised that the published agenda was a little light, it did seem like it was the agenda was self-serving. Like, look, this class learn how to use our software. This class learn how to sell our software. This class learn how to buy our software. Like, there are some of those, but there are, I think, other valued opportunities. But you're right that those conferences can get.
Those definitely creep me out. It's so funny because you'll see something on LinkedIn and it's their rah-rah session. And then all the likes are from, people in the company. And then all the comments are like, all these 23-year-olds are like, I had such a great time. It's such an amazing company that I work for. It's like, you don't want to rain on their parade, but it's like, hey, you're 24 years old. You're going to work for 13 amazing companies in your career, but those things, they can be kind of cult-like and
cringe is the word that my 9-year-old has brought to our family.
Yeah, definitely cringe. So cringe.
Yeah.
But there's this one conference. It was so bad, but it was like they were supposed to be doing like a picture where they're all like waving to the camera or something. But the side photographer took the picture from the side. So it looked like the picture looked like it was something out of the mid 1930s in Germany, with just the way of the angle. And I'm like, who is running their social media? Because everybody's waving to the camera, and then when you take a picture of the side view of that, it was a terrible. But anyway, needless to say that got mocked quite a bit. But
yeah.
Anyways,
the other thing too is like I got COVID on the way back from Florida last month, so
right.
I'm hoping that my antibodies are strong so that I don't come back with a sniffle. So as usual, thank you for your flexibility on letting us move to Wednesday next week. You want me to start bringing us out?
Sure.
Eric Buhrendorf. Let me do a screen share. I am Eric Buhrendorf, CEO and leader of EVERNET Consulting. We provide IT product services and consulting and management services across businesses across America. If you want to talk to me, just schedule a discovery call by going to evernetco.com, and there's my calendar is right on the home page. My partner in crime here, go for it.
Brian Williams, Northshire Consulting. We are an independent investment advisory firm. So a lot of our social media stuff is 401k and beyond. You can find that on our YouTube channel and around on various platforms. All the links are on the website. We also have our calendar on there as well, so you can book the discovery call, as Eric would call it.
You got a discovery call on here? Where is it? Oh, schedule. Right?
Yeah, I don't think it's called that. We actually have too many different calendar items on there, but a few different things on there. And then for locally, we have the event next week, next Wednesday. So you'll see me posting about that. But that's it. We'll see you next week.
Do we have an outro clip?
No, we do not.
We don't have an outro clip. We should get an outro clip.
Yeah, maybe for next week.
All right, man. I appreciate you and enjoy you. Have a good weekend.
Right.